Good evening and welcome to the Guilderland Central School District's Board of Education meeting. Today is June 10th, 2025. Can everyone please silence their cell phones and stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and today we'll begin with our showcase of students, spring season sectional championship teams, and state qualifier athletes. Mr. Austin.
I'm back, which means we've got some great things to share in the world of athletics and some special accomplishments from this past spring season. I'm here to kind of celebrate and recognize our team sectional champions from the spring and also our NISPA qualifiers from the spring. So again, the athletes you're going to see are some of the best in their sports in Section 2 and some of the best in the entire New York State, and certainly worthy of celebrating. Athletes and coaches, we're always proud of you. It's not easy going up against the Suburban Council or Section 2 or the best in New York State, but you've displayed incredible drive to be among the best in your sport. You continue to show that the state of Guilderland athletics is as strong as it's ever been. And you've shown that Guilderland athletics will continue to be among the best athletic programs around. We have an impressive group of individuals to recognize tonight, which speaks to the amount of success that our athletic programs have had this spring. So I'm going to talk through a few, and as I talk through them, if they're here, we'll have them come stand to my left up here as I talk and brag about them. I want to start, I know they're not here tonight, actually one of our coaches, Kelly Tynan, is here, but I want to start with the Unified Bowling team. Their season ended just a little bit after when I was here last for the winter, so we didn't get a chance to kind of talk about their season. I know some of them are tuned into the stream tonight. The Unified Bowling team had another great year in their 10th season. We saw a lot of personal best scores, students helping one another with bowling tips and strategies, and most importantly, we had a wonderful group of young adults competing for Guilderland while displaying amazing sportsmanship. The end of the season concluded with a huge win for the team. At the culminating tournament, which is equivalent to sectionals, Guilderland Unified Bowling took first place in their division, earning a school plaque, individual gold medals for the players, and t-shirts. This was the first culminating championship for Guilderland Unified Bowling since the winter 2019 season. So that's a big deal, and that's certainly why we're announcing a recap of their season. We're proud of the Unified Bowling team, so congratulations to Unified Bowling. Next up, we've got boys tennis led by head coach Deb Murray, and we've got an athlete that we want to talk about tonight. His name's Rajiv Rai. So come on, you guys can stand to my right here. Rajiv Rai had quite a successful boys tennis season. He only lost 2 matches during the regular season, which earned him a number 2 seed overall in the entire individual sectional tournament. After 4 days of competition and not dropping a set, Rajiv fell to Zane Shadri of Niskayuna in the finals, but as a number 2 finisher in all of Section 2, this earned him a spot in the NISPA Boys Individual State Championships, which was played in Queens, New York at the Billie Jean King Tennis Center, the site of the U.S. Open. Rajiv had a tough draw, however, he represented Section 2 very well, taking a higher-rated player into 3 sets. Captured the first set in a tiebreaker, forcing 2 more sets. Rajiv has great discipline and works hard. Being only in 9th grade, we are confident we will see more championships from him. So congratulations to Rajiv Rai on a great season. All right, I want to talk a little bit about boys track and field. If there's got a couple athletes here, Will and Jack. I don't know if they're here. I didn't see them. We're still going to brag about them, though. Jack Larson won the 200 meters at sectionals with a time of 22.44 seconds. Jack will compete in the long jump and the 400 meters at this weekend's NISPA State Championships at Middletown High School. Will Smittis also qualified for the NISPA State Championship in the 3,200 meter and the 1,600 meter run. He hit the super standards in both of those events. He had impressive times in both 4 minutes, 13 seconds in the mile, which is incredible, and 9 minutes and 5 seconds in the 3,200 meter run. So best of luck to Jack and Will at the Track and Field State Championships this weekend at Middletown High School. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to call up Guilderland Girls Track and Field, led by head coach Chris Scanlon and his staff. So come on up, track, come on up to my left. Feels like I'm running out of great things to say about this program, but not yet. We're going to keep going. All right, we're going to start with Callie Del Pazzo. Callie, give a wave. I see you over there. Give a wave. Callie was the Section 2 Group 1 champion in the discus throw. So congratulations to Callie on earning a sectional championship in that event. Saida Asabahi was the Section 2 Group 1 champion in the 100-meter dash and the 200-meter dash. She's also qualified for the NISVA State Championship in the 400, so she'll compete in 3 events this weekend at States. Addison Velacoup, give a wave, Addison. Addison was the Section 2 Group 1 champ in the 800-meter run. She's also qualified for the NISVA State Championship in the 800 run. She will compete at States in 3 events this weekend. Parker Steele, give a wave to Parker. Parker was a Section 2 Group 1 champion in the 100-meter hurdles. She's also qualified for the NISVA State Championship in that event and also in the 400-meter hurdles. She will compete in 4 events at States this weekend. Tatum Kramer, give a wave, Tatum. Tatum was the Section 2 Group 1 champion in the long jump. She's also qualified for the NISVA State Championship in both the long jump and triple jump. She will compete at States this weekend in a total of 3 events. Kirsten Barnhart. Nope, Kirsten's not here. We're still going to brag about Kirsten. She was a Section 2 Group 1 champion in the triple jump. She's also qualified for the NISVA State Championships in the long jump and triple jump and will compete in both events this weekend. We've also got some relay teams. Lauren Bernash, Parker Steele, Tatum Kramer, and Saida Asabahi were Section 2 Group 1 champions in the 4x100 relay. Aaron Tynan, Kara Whiteside, Tara Iyer, and Danny Kozier were the Section 2 Group 1 champions in the 4x800 relay. Julia Beyer, Alexa Kozier, Braylon Cornell, and Addison Velacoup have all qualified for the NISVA State Championships in that very same event, the 4x800 relay. So we'll have 2 teams there, which is incredible. Lauren Bernash, she's qualified for the NISVA State Championships. Lauren's here. Give a wave. Sorry if you haven't already done so. She's qualified for the NISVA State Championships in the 400-meter dash. She will compete at States this weekend in 3 events. Parker Steele, Tatum Kramer, Lauren Bernash, and Saida Asabahi have qualified for the NISVA State Championships in the 4x100. And last but not least, Lauren Bernash, Parker Steele, Addison Velacoup, and Saida Asabahi have qualified for the NISVA State Championships in the 4x400 relay. So let's just quickly talk about this team. The girls outdoor track and field team are also your Section 2 Group 1 champions again this spring. They scored an unbelievable 200 points to win their 3rd consecutive Section 2 title in a row. It was a true team effort, scoring points in all but 1 event and claiming first place in 9 out of the 19 events, which is what I read to you tonight. Between indoor and outdoor, that's 6 consecutive sectional championships for the girls track team, which is absolutely dominant. It's phenomenal. Like I said, I'm running out of great things to say about this group, all right? But let's keep it coming, all right? So best of luck, congratulations on another successful season, and best of luck to all of our track teams who are going to be at Middleton High School this weekend. Kicks off Friday at, I think, 1 p.m. So best of luck, you guys are going to do great, so congratulations. Don't go anywhere yet. We usually end with a picture, and you guys are already up here, so we have a smaller group. Let's do a picture here if we don't mind, in front of our board. We just might have to kind of crouch down a little bit so the board and district office team can be seen. Rajiv, come on back up if you're still here. Let's get a group picture with everybody. All right.
Yeah, I know. They're being said, you guys can block this very effectively.
This is quiet. Somebody's got it. Kim did it for your. Give me a smile.
I know Kim did it to me.
Okay. Next, we will move on to public comment. Right?
High school student.
I'm sorry, high school student, sorry, high school student reps.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Parth Surecha, and I'm one of the student representatives to the Board of Education. It's such an honor to be here tonight, and it's such an honor to introduce my brand new co-representative, Ryan Renka, who will let him get started.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be with you all tonight, and I'm very excited to work with you all in the next year. We have lots of things to get to as this year comes to a close, so we'll get right into that. As we just heard from Mr. Austin, spring sports have come to a close at the high school. All the teams had really amazing performances, and we're so proud of all of our athletes. In addition to that, as I'm sure many of the athletes here and students at the high school are excited about, the end of classes are going to be next Monday, June 16th. So all students should make sure that all of their assignments are in, tests are made up, they're all set for the year because school's out for high school on June 16th. I know we're all excited about that. Additionally, seniors have some extra special things to look forward to, as the senior picnic held at Towasenta will also be on Monday. I know many seniors are excited to get to spend one last big hurrah with their class, so we're excited to wish all our seniors the best, and I'll give it back to Parth.
Thanks, Ryan. So staying on that kind of academic side of things, the Regents exams, there are a couple of Regents exams that are happening today and tomorrow, namely the biology exam, the earth and space science exam, or space science as it's now newly being called, and the geometry exam. So all high school students are off today and tomorrow, so it's a pretty easy day for Ryan and I, as you can imagine. And also, we're getting close to Regents Week. Regents Week begins June 17th, and it's just a week or two where all Regents exams are being administered all throughout New York State. During this time, us high schoolers are off, so even though the middle schoolers and elementary schoolers might still be at school, us high schoolers, our last day is going to be on June 16th, which is this coming Monday. And then we get those weeks off because we need the space for Regents exams and also for students to study. Finally, senior graduation will be occurring on June 27th at MVP Arena, and we hope to see as many people as possible there to support class of 2025 and whatever they choose to do after their high school career, whether it be college, employment, or so much more that this world has to offer. Thank you so much, and have a great night, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, and now we will jump into public comment. We have several. And I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Tyler Lutchen and John, are you physically here?
It's John.
Okama. Thank you. Sorry. It just says John, so.
Thank you. Good evening. My name's Tyler Lutchen.
My name is John Okama. We are the teachers of the Teacher Corps program at Guilderland High School that you've heard about earlier this year. Teacher Corps is a course where students spend the first semester of the year learning the basics of being a teacher. And then during the second semester, they teach lessons at Westmere Elementary School on the topics of bullying prevention, self-esteem, decision-making, diversity and tolerance, and digital literacy. This was a transformative experience for this group of students, and we could not have been prouder and more impressed with this first cohort of Teacher Corps students. They have really set the bar high for future educators.
Additionally, Teacher Corps students diligently worked on their New York State Seal of Civic Readiness capstone project throughout the school year. That is why we're here tonight. We are excited to introduce 3 partnerships from our class to present research from their New York State Seal of Civic Readiness capstone project. The goal of the New York State Seal of Civic Readiness initiative is to empower students as agents of positive social change and community improvement. At GHS, the objective of the Seal of Civic Readiness capstone project was for students to identify an issue within our school community, conduct extensive research, and develop a realistic, actionable solution for our district. All 10 partnerships from our Teacher Corps class presented their proposals to the GHS Seal of Civic Readiness Committee, which was made up of teachers, school counselors, and administrators. Here tonight to truly embody the roles of agents of social change and community improvement are the 3 partnerships selected by the committee to present at this meeting. We truly appreciate you giving our students the opportunity to share their work tonight. We are excited for you to hear their thoughtful proposals and to see the passion they bring to the issues that matter to them. Thank you for your support, for supporting student voice and civic engagement in our district. And first, we're going to have Abby Rudolph and Jordan Smith.
Hi, my name's Abby Rudolph. We would like to start by thanking you for giving us the opportunity to speak tonight. Over our educational careers and after our experiences at Westmere Elementary School, we have discovered that using technology safely is of major importance. When used improperly, it can lead to issues such as cyberbullying, security threats, inappropriate interactions, and can expose students to harmful content. It is vital that students learn the importance of digital literacy and safety as soon as possible. Educating children on the proper ways to be digitally safe will help students make better decisions online in this fast-growing digital world. If posed with a threat, children should know how to handle it and who to go to for help. They should learn how to be responsible with their devices and what is or isn't okay to post on the internet. Guilderland's current solutions, such as website blocking and Yonder pouches, are a start, but there is also a need for digital education and internet literacy to help students act responsibly. The solution to this is an expansive and organized approach to digital education. We propose that elementary students have digital literacy formally integrated into their regular curriculum. This is important because our digital society is advancing, and students are being exposed to harmful content earlier than ever before. We hope that this education will continue across students' educational careers. We propose that middle school students and high school students at the middle school and high school level have digital safety classes model that of the current health curriculum in Guilderland. These specific classes will teach students about cyberbullying, digital footprints, trusted adults, and how to handle unsafe situations on the internet. These are important topics, but it is also critical that students learn how to use technology properly and positively. We hope to promote students to become successful in communicating with others, sharing their ideas, and collaborating via the internet. And social media. Enhanced digital literacy skills are needed in order to communicate effectively in our current digital world. We believe that equipping students with these skills will support them in the future. Though the internet can be dangerous and harmful, these harms can be mitigated with proper education. The internet is a powerful tool that allows students to have access to diverse cultural perspectives, creative inspiration, and collaboration with others. We need to empower students in the Guilderland Central School District to be positive and active members of the digital world. In order to do this effectively, we must reform our current policies and include proper digital education for all students. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Madison Kolchak and Eva McTiernan.
Hi, I'm Ava McTiernan.
Hi, I'm Madison Kowalczyk, and starting off this experience, we both didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. Teacher Corps has taught us what teaching really is, and it's not just about education and learning, it's also about meeting new people and building the best relationships with students. All because of this class, we made 24 new little friends that we wouldn't change anything for the time that we spent with them. We've been working on our Seal of Civic Readiness capstone project for this year, and for our topic, we chose to look at the decrease in students' attention span. Researchers have found that students' attention span has decreased by 66% in recent years, and a child's attention span is supposed to be 2 to 3 times their numerical age. This means that a kindergarten-age child should have an attention span of 15 minutes, but that number is decreased to around 9 minutes. This issue surfaced in students in many ways, such as inability to engage with activities and peers, struggling to take in information, and significantly low test scores. COVID has also had a huge impact on students' learning due to the lockdown. We lost almost 2 years of knowledge, and for many children, some key fundamental parts of their education. Most kids didn't pay attention to what was being taught on the computers due to the abundance of distractions. Another reason for this problem is the rise in electronics, which can be a significant distraction in the classroom. Not only cell phones, but Chromebooks and iPads too. When students are on the Chromebooks or iPads, they can easily go into other tabs and get distracted by games, websites, and etc. For part of our CELO Civic Readiness project was teaching lessons in the elementary classroom based on our topic and using concepts we discovered in our research. In our lesson, we taught the students about time management and various other strategies to help build their attention span. We also implemented strategies that we found throughout our research, such as laying out the goals for the day and lesson and getting students up and moving and embedding information as a fun and engaging game. This got the students involved in the lesson and engaging them in activities, minimalizing controllable distractions, and most importantly, helping them be present so they learn best.
For our call to action to address this problem, we divided it into 2 levels, an elementary level and a middle and a high school level. For the elementary level, our solution is to start building students' attention span at a young age. As previously stated, the average attention span for a kindergartner is 15 minutes, and many aren't there yet. We propose that teachers keep lessons at the beginning of the year in 15-minute intervals or shorter. As teachers notice the students keeping their focus for the whole 15 minutes, they can start to increase the time of their lessons in small increments. This method, along with the strategies we implemented in our lesson, would be a natural way to increase student attention span in a stress-free way. At the middle and high school level, we think the most effective solution is phasing out strict lecture classes. Most students check out around the 30-minute mark of a strict lecture class, mandating that every lesson must have some sort of partner worksheet, exercise relating to the lesson, a game to review the information presented, or a hands-on representation of what was learned will help keep the students engaged throughout the 80-minute block. Another part of our proposal is eliminating taking notes on the computer. It is very easy to get distracted when taking notes on the computer, as the temptation of opening other tabs can be a distraction. Further, it has been proven that writing out notes helps you memorize information quicker and more effectively. This is why all students that are able to take handwritten notes should. We think that these solutions can be a stepping stone to help students get back on the successful track and truly make a difference in our focus and our learning. Thank you for your time.
Emily McGuire and Emma McCoy.
Dear members of the Board of Education, good evening. My name is Emily McGuire.
My name is Emma McCoy.
We are here to advocate for a problem facing Guilderland schools, stigma in special education. We believe that in order to solve this ever-growing problem, we need inclusive classrooms at the elementary level.
Currently at Guilderland Elementary Schools, there is a limited interaction between general education students and special education students. That's a problem. The introduction to special education is often in a negative light. In our time at Westmere, through Teacher Corps, we got to know the kids and answer some of their questions about special education. We focused on lessons teaching the value and the importance of inclusion.
For one of our lessons, we discussed the power of kind words and showed our students how unkind words will have a lasting impact by having them crumple up their paper hearts to represent the effects our words have. While teaching lessons on inclusivity and promoting social-emotional learning is impactful, it is crucial that both gen ed and special education students in self-contained classrooms have continued opportunities to interact, which provides a time and space for relationships to grow and foster.
While lessons on inclusion are very important and give students the opportunity to ask questions, that's not enough to stop the stigma in special education. For this to happen, Guilderland needs more inclusive classrooms and activities for all students in all buildings. This can be done when gen ed students are given the time to cooperate with self-contained classroom teachers, and they are able to work out a regular class time where students from both classrooms are provided the opportunity to interact with one another. We do want to stress that this needs to be incorporated into students' regular schedules. For friendships to foster and realistically grow, you need to interact with that person at least once a week. It would also be beneficial to start after-school activities in elementary schools, such as Best Buddies, as we have at FMS and GHS. We had the privilege of speaking with Ms. Knowles, Director for People Personal Services at Guilderland, and she was very excited about our ideas and said one of the reasons that this isn't happening already is because teachers aren't always allowed the time to schedule it.
During one of our final lessons at Westmere, a student asked us, "Why is my cousin who has Down syndrome not in a classroom with people like me?" This innocent question from a 9-year-old led us to designing and incorporating equity into another lesson in their classroom. If teachers continue to push away questions like this, the stigma will only grow. To dedicate more energy to this, they may just need to be allotted the time. Without relationships forming, students with and without disabilities will never connect. However, if we start to build more inclusive classrooms for the elementary students, there will be more understanding and friendship, and the stigma in Guilderland schools will end. Thank you so much.
Emmeline Friedman.
Hello. Thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Emmeline Friedman. I'm a student in the art and music programs in this high school and the president of this year's National Art Honors Society, or NAHS chapter. I wanted to bring up the impacts of defunding the NAHS and the Music Honor Society, or TRIAM. The National Honor Society, TRIAM, and NAHS are all institutions within our school made to honor individuals who attain the highest level of academic achievement. NHS covers the disciplines of community service in tandem with scholarship, whereas NAHS and TRIAM cover community service through arts and music. By removing the NAHS and TRIAM chapters from the high school, our art and music communities are being actively diminished, and an entire dimension of the student skill set is going unacknowledged. Personally, I've been involved in both our amazing music and arts program, but as the president of NAHS, I'll be speaking more about that. This chapter of NAHS was relaunched by our retiring art director, Dr. Elliott, after a multiple-year hiatus. She advocated for a center of arts and service that our department had been lacking years prior. Through this new club, we created flyers, art posters for the elementary school, advertisements for business classes, and so much more. This honor society has shown me the tangible impact art can have on the world and all the opportunities visual arts can create. NAHS exemplifies that art is more than just a pastime. It is a skill that can be used in service of others. In a similar vein, TRIAM creates opportunities through the performing arts, such as organizing music events, decorating concerts, and active fundraising. These organizations are outlets for serving our community through our unique talents. By defunding these societies, you leave that sense of collaboration and service experience inaccessible. You're refusing to acknowledge that being devoted to the arts is an achievement. Furthermore, from an artist's perspective, by not replacing Dr. Elliott, you eliminate the voice most suited to advocate for art. By deciding NAHS is the only honor society worth financing, I believe you are telling both performing and visual arts students that what they do isn't worth recognition. As Guilderland's mission states, this school is focused on empowering all students to succeed in the 21st century. By emphasizing all students, shouldn't we be celebrating students who excel in areas outside of just a few core subjects? We have a renowned music department, yet when you get rid of the honor society attached to it, you are de-emphasizing its importance and not allowing students to reach their fullest potential through music. Our arts department has brought several pieces by Guilderland artists to juried galleries, and these pieces have won awards. By getting rid of the honor society attached to art, you are showing these artists that the work they do isn't impressive enough to be acknowledged. You speak of empowering students to succeed, but by defunding these honor societies, what are you implying Guilderland's definition of success is? These honor societies are vital to the school community and society at large, and I strongly believe they should continue to be funded. Thank you.
I have a few questions. Should I hold until all of the public comments are made? Okay. Thank you. I think you might be next. Andy, 1 second. I lost. Yep, Mr. Maycock?
Thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time. My name is Andy Maycock, and it has been my pleasure to teach English and work on our theatrical shows at Guilderland High School for 30 years, and to be the advisor of those productions for most of that time. For the past several years, we, meaning the people working on these Guilderland Players productions with me, have tallied the hours that we've put into each production in the hopes that when the co-curricular committee would next meet to determine our stipends for the next contract cycle, which hasn't been done for several years, the committee will see that we deserve a little increase. Like the other clubs at the high school, the Guilderland Players have had the same stipend figure for 5 years. A few weeks ago, the co-curricular committee delivered its new system for stipends, and we at the high school were surprised to learn that the overall pot of money for all co-curricular stipends was staying the same. And from that pot, the committee now needs to pay several new stipends at the elementary level. Though the final figures are still being hammered out, it's clear that stipends for advisors in the high school and the middle school will be reduced in order to pay those at the elementary schools. My objection is not for the decision to pay those elementary school advisors. I agree there's no reason they should simply donate their time. My concern is that the funding for those teachers is coming from the previous funding for other teachers, and I'm not sure why that's the case. When a team needs more coaches, they speak to the board. When a group of athletes wants to propose a new sport, they speak to the board. The board seems to have the ability to fund these programs without chipping away at other ones. But when teachers, specifically these at the elementary level, request stipends to run their clubs, those stipends come from other stipends, putting the co-curricular committee in the tough position of valuing one teacher's work over another's. Now, it's possible I just don't understand the workflow or the process. Perhaps if advisors came to speak to the board about creating stipends instead of bringing their concerns to the committee first, the board would have been able to expand that pot of money and find ways to fund those new stipends without taking away existing ones, just as they've done with athletics. The committee, co-curricular committee, started its evaluation of stipends in June of 2023, which, it seems to me, gave the board plenty of time, 2 years' worth of budget cycles, to approve a larger pot of money to fund those additional stipends. I'm discouraged that I've kept track of my nearly minimum wage hours for several years, only to discover that the result is the opposite of what I expected, that my work and everyone's work has less value than we thought. Again, thanks for your time.
Thank you. So before we move on to the, nope, never mind. Mrs. McCann, if it's okay, I'm going to, just to keep it with the same theme, ask Erin Whalen to please come up.
I get confused. This is not McNamara.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. So I'm Erin McNamara, Melissa Gergen, Maria Jasinski, and we just wanted to speak to you on the same topic relative to that of Andy. Very shortly, I believe, you will each be receiving a copy of the 2025 yearbook. It's the 84th edition of the Towasenthin, and when you see it, I hope you will agree with the students of this year who have said that it is exemplary. It showcases the hard work and accomplishments of all of our students, and we're taking a special pride in the cover of this edition because it features the night sky over Guilderland Center on June 27th of this year, which is the graduation day for the class of 2025.
Very cool.
Additionally, within the book, we accentuated the senior section with a custom UV treatment to highlight our graduating seniors, so it stands out from any other book we've previously done. We acknowledge that there are a number of wonderful clubs offered at the high school for students to engage in, and you're given limited after-school time, and we are often all vying for that student participation in our clubs. As a result, the yearbook is made up of a handful of devoted students who regularly attend our meetings. As 3 advisors, we work together with our students to organize 272 pages of content, gathering materials, proofreading, and sending the publication to the printer by March 31st, which is our deadline. And I gotta tell you, this is no easy feat. As advisors, we split the monumental responsibilities and are deeply invested in ensuring our yearbook is a reflection of all stakeholders, students, faculty, administration, parents, and the community at large. Together, we make sure that as many of the 350 plus seniors, 370 this year, have chosen a senior image so they are properly represented in the senior section of the yearbook. This means sending and answering hundreds of emails to and from parents and students. We also then work with underclassmen and staff to ensure that they are aware of when Picture Week is, as well as retakes. We send out numerous Parent Square blasts in an effort to make sure all are aware of the aforementioned details, as well as our deadlines for senior congratulatory advertisements, personalization, and pre-order sales. We are in almost daily contact with our commissioned photographers and yearbook publishing team to navigate the creation of each year's publication. Together, we are diligent when it comes to student names, images, and varied student representation, all while making sure our pages within the yearbook align with the policies of the district, avoiding inappropriate images, whether it be hand gestures, what's on shirts, and the like. We work hard to create a quality product which is affordable to our population. Then we organize and distribute. I hit the timer?
You can finish up.
Okay, I'm sorry, thank you. At the end of the school year, we started to include a senior signing celebration, complete with snacks, pens, candy, and we work with the school store, administration, and maintenance for a smooth disbursement. This year, we added a new component to the special day, having our yearbook reps take candid photos of the students. Seniors had a blast exploring the yearbook and gathering the messages and sharing messages from their classmates, and it will no doubt be a keepsake for the rest of their lives. And we just wanted to ask the board, how many of you still have your own yearbooks from high school? Okay. So it's for that reason that after being asked by district office this past year to remove old yearbooks from the basement, we decided to take inventory and conduct a yesteryear sale, an endeavor that allows people from previous graduating classes to purchase available yearbooks. Having sold nearly 50, not 500, past yearbooks, one of them dating back to in the 1950s, this affirms that our club goes beyond simply producing a book. It is a vessel for memories that will stay with students for a lifetime. For many students, the yearbook is a tangible representation of their hard work, achievements, and friendships. The development and creation of each year's book takes a great deal of time and effort from all three of its advisors. On average, we log a combined time of nearly 1,200 hours on our yearbook platform alone. That does not account for the myriad emails and contacts we must make in preparation to work on the platform. This endeavor of love and our efforts have not gone unnoticed. Not only have we sold out of our 800 plus yearbooks in recent years, the club has been recognized the past 2 years with awards from our publisher. The 2024 yearbook was one of the top 100 books in the nation, while also being included on the International Yearbook Honor Roll Award. As you consider this, please try to imagine our surprise and concern when we learned of the plan to eliminate one of our advisor positions. When we inquired as to why our club was to endure the cut, we were essentially told it was because we had 3 advisors. No one directed us to the co-curricular rubric to explain where we didn't meet the criteria. No one shared a rationale as to the work not being justified to earn a stipend. No one expressed concern about not meeting expectations. In fact, it was quite the opposite. We were congratulated. So this only added to our confusion. We were told that our club needed to endure a cut to make room for other stipended clubs. We do not begrudge anyone wanting a stipended club. We believe putting in time, work, should be compensated. We appreciate the 2 years of work that the co-curricular committee did in trying to find a solution. However, it was disheartening to learn that teachers who have been longtime advisors of clubs are to experience a pay cut. In Yearbook Club, it was not only result in a pay cut, but the elimination of an entire position.
I think we're going to, yeah, thank you.
As educators, we recognize the importance of extracurricular programs and the development of well-rounded students, and we understand the need to allocate resources efficiently. We believe the board values the time and expertise of those who choose to do so. We therefore ask the board to find another solution which fairly compensate club advisors from both secondary levels and at the elementary level. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions before I ask some questions?
I'm confused about the Tri-M. That's not been defunded, right?
It has not been defunded,
Okay.
nor has the Art Honor Society. The source of the dollars is different than the co-curricular funds.
Okay.
But it is still.
But it's still funded?
Still funded.
Okay, so that's still funded.
So my question is, I don't believe that we as a board were notified or voted on the decisions made by the curricular committee. Is it, so I'm a little surprised to learn of some of these things, and I wonder, is that something the board votes on, or?
It is not. Let me try to lay out the process here. And there are 2 processes that happen here. the co-curricular club, the co-curricular committee is a committee established within the bargaining unit between the school district and the Teachers Association. And there is a clause in that agreement that requires that the committee come together periodically to review the rubrics that are used to determine how much each co-curricular club advisor is paid. The criteria for those things include how many students participate, how much time is involved, and others as well. So this is a thankless committee to be on. I have not served on it, but I know how many hours they have met, and they gather data from all of the advisors to look at just what level of time, energy, visibility. The yearbook is a great example of a very visible thing, because if something is wrong, we all hear about it, correct? I'm channeling you. I advised the yearbook in my younger days. So this committee has been meeting to look at all of the club advisors against the rubric in order to make some shifts, because for years, there have been no stipends at all at the elementary level. So there have been no stipends for elementary yearbooks or student council or any club. That process happens under the umbrella of the bargaining unit and our agreement with them. The pot of money is part of the budget development process. Mm-hmm. So in the absence of a request to say we need $100,000 more to fund co-curricular clubs that would happen in stage 1 and stage 2 and up through the long process that we go through, the process that the co-curricular club worked with the existing bucket of money. And so in order to open up essentially 10 more stipended positions for our 5 elementary buildings, it meant shifting some of the funds from other stipended areas. Let me stop there. How did I do, members of the committee who are up here? So there are 2 things happening at once. And at this time, we do not have any mechanism to add additional funds to a budget to just add to the pie. Next year, I would anticipate in stage 2, we should see some applications or some recommendations to expand the process, which is what happens when we add a coach. And I'm thinking of Andy's comment. If we're going to add an assistant coach or a new program, that works its way through stage 1, stage 2. It's in the presentation. We, go through that whole process of what ultimately will be added to the pot of money available to us. So these 2 things happen independent of one another. The board votes on the bucket of funds that fund everything that we do. The committee, by contract, decides how many, how big, and so forth.
So, but couldn't this have been anticipated
Right,
if it started in 2023?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to defer because the process was laborious, and Regan and Rachel and Andrew, I think, were on there. So the lead up to it took a great deal of time, and maybe you can offer some insight into the why.
So I guess the answer is yes, that could have been anticipated. But again, the board and our leadership team put together their proposals in stage 1 and stage 2. Mm-hmm. I guess I would say remember what we did during budget this year, where we had huge increases. We didn't add anything but was mandated in special education and health insurance.
So we did not know in stage 1 and stage 2 that we were going to be expanding, because we didn't know about the work that was being done in the co-curricular. I did not find out personally until negotiations came up as a topic that we were going to have to take the same pot of money and spread it. And it was only because I had seen some students, some disheartened students, post on social media the Tri-M had been canceled. So again, I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, but I definitely did not have that piece of information. I would like us to, this is probably not the right venue, I would like us to continue this discussion in some way. I am not comfortable just cutting what we already have. And I don't know if there's a way to fix it, but I think that discussion needs to be had.
It sounds like there's a potential for next year or then or the following year to readjust funding towards the pie of funds. Am I correct in understanding that?
We could add it to the budget, I think is what's being set for next year.
Well, just a reminder, the budget development process is always about needs and competing interests and available resources, and a lot of back and forth has to happen there. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe the committee is completely done yet, or are you done? So the committee is still working, and I'm sure they're hearing this feedback tonight, and we'll take it into consideration and think about how we move forward.
Maybe it's just a matter of waiting until we can add to the pot of money. Kim, did we hear back from Mr. Corbett? Okay, I wasn't sure if that was also for public comments. Thank you to everyone. Mrs. McCann.
Another matter has come up. I have 3 children in the district, a 9th grader, a 5th grader, and a 2nd grader. And I'm here tonight with my husband, John McCann, because it has recently been communicated to us that there is a district-wide issue related to scheduling for children who are receiving remedial services. I just became aware of this when my daughter became emotional before the New York State science test. I'm going to read the letter I sent to the teacher, the reading teacher, and the principal at Pine Bush. And I will say, before I had a chance to send this letter, the teacher had already reached out to let me know that my daughter had been crying before the test. However, the teacher said she had comforted her because she told my daughter that she was not the only child to have missed science instruction this year. So there are other children in a similar position. So this is not just affecting my child, it's affecting other children as well. And I've also recently found out it's actually been it's been brushed under the rug in the past too. So I'm just hoping that the board can hear this and really make some changes, because it's not fair to the children. It's not, excuse me.
Just before you go on, just please keep in mind privacy, so
Yep.
like names, things like that.
My daughter is fine with me using her name, so. So here is the letter that was written to make the people in charge aware of what was going on. 5th grade teacher. I saw your note today, and at that point in time, I was already planning to write to you and to inform you of what transpired this morning. I spent the drive to school comforting Jenny, who was crying over how badly she was going to do on the state test in science, and she had been pulled from class for reading help 4 days a week during the time that science is almost always scheduled. As you know, Genevieve is a strong kid who is positive and excited about almost everything, and yet today she was heartbroken because she knew she was not at all adequately prepared for her test. Jenny said that her and her friend were partnered for a practice test recently, and while her friend knew quite a bit, Jenny felt she knew almost nothing. She said her friend was doing her best to help her, but was surprised that Jenny had missed so many units and knew so little. Jenny's friend is not any more academically inclined or intelligent as she is, so this is simply a case of not being properly prepared, and this is very upsetting to me. Truthfully, I was so upset that I decided to sit with all of this for most of the day before reaching out to find how I am just finding out in mid-May that Genevieve has consistently missed science most of the year. Please help me understand why reading help wouldn't be scheduled during reading time. Why would a small group of kids be allowed to miss a core subject most of the time? Frankly, an accommodation should have been made so that these kids would not fall behind their peers in a core subject. According to Jenny, who is very on top of things, and I don't doubt for a minute, science is scheduled Monday through Thursday, 1:15 to 1:45, which is exactly when her reading help is also scheduled. She said in-class reading typically takes place after lunch around noon. As anyone with common sense would assume, I figured reading help took place during in-class reading or would be staggered so she wasn't consistently missing a core subject. At the very least, any missed work should have been sent home so she would not just completely miss the science lesson. Apparently, Jenny was only able to take part in the important labs that were moved to the morning on a handful of occasions so that the whole class could actually take part, and that's because it's New York State mandated, apparently. That this is at the very least poor planning, and at the worst a case of educational neglect. I had trusted that my daughter was in a school and with a teacher that would make sure she was prepared in all subjects, and that simply did not happen here. It is obviously too late for Jenny, but this lack of regard for the academic schedule of kids receiving additional help should not ever happen again to any child. Please feel free to reach out so that we can figure out a way to fix this going forward. My husband and I are willing to meet at any point to try to determine what we need to do to help prepare Jenny for middle school. The reason I'm also here today is because we did meet with the principal. We met with, the assistant superintendent, and we have talked with a teacher. And basically, we were told that this is district-wide, that this is due to planning on the part of the district. And so Jenny is not the only one that this has happened to. In addition, just to clarify, it's not just science that she was missing, it was science/social studies that takes place during that block. And this was happening the whole year. There was no parent communication.
Keep in mind, report cards from meetings, everything that's been communicated to us is that free meeting state requirements.
So apparently she's at a 3 even though she hasn't had the class.
About that, it basically this is a lot. Really, that's basically.
Not to mention the fact that this has been brought up before in this school by other parents. I know this for a fact because I've talked to the parents, and nothing has been done about it. It's been brushed under the rug. So we talk a lot about equity. This is not equity in education whatsoever.
We got a room full of people with master's district, people with PhD, we can't figure out schedules that are inclusive of everyone. And if you can't, why aren't you communicating to parents and informing parents?
So we could make a decision to perhaps do other tutoring or something in place of that. Also, obviously, work should have been sent home. I did say that, one stipulation of like, okay, fine, I will teach my child all of this, you get me the material. They did get me some material. I talked to the child who was also pulled along with my daughter. I talked to their parents, and I was told that they have not been notified about anything. No work has been sent home to them. So basically what I'm getting at is this has been falling on this has been falling on deaf ears, and nobody's doing anything about it. And so I'm just coming to you because obviously we need to have some sort of policies in place if we can't trust that it's happening on a school level. And something needs to change with the scheduling for these kids.
To me, the bottom line is there's a will, Mr. Reddick, and historically, we work with parents that this isn't going to affect our learning. But we don't want any other parent to go through this. And if they're going to go through it, they should at least know about it. It's a very simple request.
Thank you.
And a lot of taxes. It's a very simple request.
We definitely want to discuss this further, so thank you for
Okay.
bringing it to our attention. Someone will be reaching out to you.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I do. That's okay. And Mr. Burke, Tim Burke. It's okay, I'm going to wait a little.
I forgot you were still on the board, Gloria. I actually worked with your husband on the committee before I ever even met you. And I thought of him when I saw that tiny little flag. As a veteran, he would have wanted something a little better than that. So maybe we should turn towards that one or something. I just wanted to say that, tonight was the lacrosse banquet. My son is not there. He's an athlete. He's a 3-sport athlete. He's neurodivergent. He's difficult. He struggles. And we've gotten a lot of help. Mr. Lassiter, Mr. Obi, and now Brian Mazza and Mr. Piscatelli have been great. And I really want to thank all the people that are part of his world that make it better. And there are a lot of them. Coach Scanlon in cross country and Hulslander and Favreau in wrestling. I've done a great job with them. They're always open. I can go to them anytime and say, hey, this is a struggle, something we need. And they bend over backwards. And when I say bend over backwards, they really do. Lacrosse has not been that for him. It's his favorite sport. And the coaches have been nothing short of impossible. Rude, bullying to me, bullying to my child. Goes back a decade. High school has only gotten worse. You ask for a meeting and you get told by the JV coach last year, the season hasn't started. Well, last year was a mess. Shouldn't we have a meeting before the season starts? I have a real problem with it. I went to the athletic director, nothing. I went to Marie, She assures me the athletic director is going to get back to me. Nobody gets back to me. We're here tonight because he can't be there because he's bullied, because he's ostracized, because no one talks to him. The effort. He should be rewarded just like everybody else. And the fact that these people have allowed that to continue is inexcusable. Somebody needs to be held accountable. There were humiliating moments throughout the year, some of them on accident, some of them intentional. We can do better. And we need it from the leadership. And I'm extremely disappointed to have to come here and put my child out, because there's going to be more repercussions. I said to him tonight before I came, are you going to be all right with more kids bullying you tomorrow? How will I notice? Will you be all right with more kids not talking to you? That I won't notice. They already don't talk to me. It is disappointing to be here. And because I'm here, it's probably going to get worse. But how much worse can it be than not feeling welcome at your own banquet? I'm really disappointed. And there should have been action by this. I should not have to be here tonight, although it was nice to see you, Gloria. And I hope that you can all do better.
Thank you, Mr. Burke, for bringing this to our attention. I do not think the board was aware of this, so thank you. Okay, and that concludes, I think, our public comment. Kim, we didn't get anything else, right, via email? Okay.
I did not.
Consent items, I think, is next. Oh, the presentation is next. If I may, because I do have to excuse myself a little early, unfortunately, I apologize. I would like to sort of shift things around and mention that two very important things are taking place tonight. So this is Marie Wiles's last meeting, and it is Gloria Tohilt's last meeting. We would like to thank them very much for their leadership and their dedication to the district as a whole. Marie is 14 years? How many years?
About that.
About that? You don't want to say. And Gloria, how many years? You also don't want to
I
say?
have it right here
You
in
do?
front of me.
Okay. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yes, Mrs. Toll-Hilt was elected to serve in May of 2007 and has served 18 years on the board. She served as vice president in 2011-12, 2012-13, 2020-21, 21, and 22. She served on 3 board subcommittees, including communications, business practices, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. She's been our NYSBA advocacy liaison and our NYSBA voting delegate, and she's been a PTA liaison to schools during her years. She's also the only board member sitting up here who was on the board that hired me, and it has been many, many years of working with an individual who exemplifies extraordinary boardsmanship. I have admired Gloria since the first time I met her because she always puts children first. She'll always say, is this good for kids? Now, granted, she's got a special place in her heart for those middle school kids, and we love her for that, for all of her years of working with our middle schoolers. So, Gloria, you are just such a credit to the work of governance in the Guilderland Central School District. You have made a profound, profound difference. And it's just been the honor of my life to work with you. And I have hidden away, of course. Stand.
Gloria, we also have a little something for you. I met you when I was in middle school. You were not.
Let's not go there.
You were not one of my teachers, but you were one of the cool teachers, and I quote. And you very much embodied a teacher when I first started on the board. You've been a wonderful mentor for so many board members. You helped take the lead on the board handbook, which is a very important tool, very important resource for us. You're patient, kind, and a wealth of institutional knowledge. So thank you so much for your dedication and hard work. And then for Marie, this a super. We want to thank you so much for your patience with us. You communicate with us very well. You are measured. We've learned a lot from you, every single one of us, and we appreciate your dedication to the district for, is it 14 years? Nobody will ever give me a straight answer.
It would be 15 in October.
Okay.
So it's 14 and change.
So this is a little something also from the Board of Education as a thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
All right. Thank you.
Miss you. Thank you so much.
And now I'm going to turn it over to VP Kelly Person.
Okay. Who will turn it over to?
Who will turn it over to?
Bev Bisnet-Jenks and her team.
Excellent.
To talk to us about
Argument-driven
inquiry.
Fantastic. It's so cool.
Thank you, and my apologies.
I wanted to take this time first to thank the Board of Education, primarily because the work that we're going to describe for you today would not have happened without your support and approval. The grant that you helped to approve more than a year ago is about the work that we're doing today, and I'm excited to share that with you. First, I don't need to tell you much about Farnsworth Middle School because you know an awful lot about Farnsworth Middle School. And this is a bit of a dry run for when we present out more globally, if you will. Our hope was to present in Texas this summer and then hopefully to New York State wide. But let me introduce to you the educators to my right. These are very talented educators who have dedicated an enormous amount of time, and I'm incredibly proud to be working alongside them. Please let me introduce Kristen Blanchard, who's our 8th grade science teacher and also our science teacher leader at Farnsworth Middle School. And then Jessica Hennessy, who's 7th grade teacher, who started this whole adventure with me and went all in. Let me talk to you a little bit about the why. So why did we engage in this grant, go after this grant from the University of Austin? First, I want to talk to you a little bit about NGSS, which is the Next Generation Science Standards, which New York State turned into NSLS, another set of, letters and alphabet soup, but basically our New York State Science Standards. We've had a change in our student profile. It was another big reason. And of course, the portrait of a graduate. So this is the data that I presented to our group of educators in the beginning of this year to describe a little bit of the why. You see in 2018, this is our New York State Science 8 testing performance data. This is our proficiency rates. This is measuring those students who took the Science 8. This is not our accelerated science students. We had about 80% proficiency on our science assessments before COVID, a massive drop after COVID, as did all of New York State. And then in 2022, 2023, we rebounded real quick. But then the new test came out. The Science 8 test came out. It was a big difference from what it was in the past. It is content-based, but also asking students to think and apply, and a more rigorous exam, and our results fell. Not as much as many in New York State, but it fell. So we saw that we needed to do something different for our science students. In addition, our profile of students have changed. Where our special ed students population percentage is relatively the same, our English language learners, or ELL students, have slowly increased it, but more dramatically, our students with economically disadvantaged in our middle school have increased. So we had to have a real clear eye on equity and how we were providing science instruction. But this was big for our staff and for me, because what we need to do for our students is so much more than having them be literate across the content areas. We needed to teach our students how to be effective communicators. We needed them to be critical thinkers, and we needed them to be innovative problem solvers. And so what we needed to do for our students was first to start with our teachers. And what's severely lacking throughout all of New York State is proper professional learning in science instruction. So it's not about the content. Our teachers are experts in the content. It's about the instructional delivery and how that had to change. So our objectives tonight are twofold. One is to share our journey in implementing of phenomenon-based learning. That's what we do with the New York State Science Learning Standards, and to share how argument-driven inquiry, or which we're going to call ADI over and over again tonight, has supported and bolstered our student curiosity and improved our overall student literacy skills. So let me talk a little bit about what ADI is. It is a program that was developed. It's research-based out of the University of Texas. There's some really important keys here. It's an instructional strategy more than it is delivery of content. It is based on our three-dimensional model of teaching, and includes asking our students to figure out phenomena, using literacy to build foundational knowledge. The program itself is equitable in its design, and it stresses collaboration. The most important part for me was that it was easy to integrate into any curriculum. So let me turn it over to my colleagues here who can share a little bit about our journey.
I'll take over from here. So I was asked to go to Texas with my boss and learn something brand new. So I jumped at that opportunity, and the ADI Institute that we attended completely changed the type of educator I am at a very fundamental level. The training deepened my understanding of inquiry-based learning, but empowered me with strategies to make STEM achievable for every student. The collaboration and camaraderie during the Institute was amazing, and we both have walked away with long-lasting friendships that people would still talk to today. This experience didn't just change how I teach, but redefined who I was as an educator in science and STEM. Kristen and I were both eager to bring it back to FMS, and to do this, we started with our 7th and 8th grade science and special education teachers. To do this, we started where I started at the Institute. We walked them through an investigation just as though they were students. So you can see here them engaging with the experiments. This one happened to be about school buses. It was very on trend because of those days that we had to get dismissed early because of our school buses not having air conditioning. This hit very well because it's about thermal energy and why our buses are yellow. So they had a chance to walk through the investigation themselves, collect data, provide feedback, which you can see on the Post-its. And I will let Kristen.
So how did we change our program? The first thing we did was we adapted the investigations and how they run into our own investigations. So we took our old labs and their labs and we changed them. They first have to go through a phenomena to get them to wonder about science. And then they have to model about what they know about the phenomena. Going forward, then there's a literacy part, and this is the key part, because if you have a child that took the biology regions today or the earth science regions, you know literacy is big. And this was huge because a lot of kids were so expected to do notes, and now we got rid of the notes and we are having them read about the information and gain about the facts about what they're learning. And so there's a little bit of check for understanding, there's a little bit of modeling that they have to do, their thoughts and everything, and then they have to design their experiment based on an essential question. So they have to work together, come up with what they think they need to do to solve the problem. And then afterwards, they go and walk around and they have to basically give constructive feedback to the other groups on how to change their experiment. And at the end, you'll notice that they have to do what's called a CER. They have to make a claim. They have to back it up with evidence from their research and from their experiment, and then they have to back it up with reasoning. And if you saw the Regencies today, you will know in the Science 8 exam that almost every question asked, take the data, find the evidence, and back it up with reasoning. So this just supports where the direction is going. So what did we learn from this? We learned that there is a process that we have to teach the students. We couldn't start just by jumping in. We had to start at the beginning. So we had to teach them how to read, how to annotate, how to figure out what pieces were super important in the investigation. Because before they were given the procedure, they were given all the steps and they just followed them, and then they got their data and then they answered the questions. Now they have to do critical thinking. They have to work as a team, they have to self-reflect, and they have to give constructive feedback. And this was all new for the students. So this was one of the challenges for us, is to kind of dive in and teach this process to the kids. So one of the other things that was challenging for us is to step back. As a teacher, we want to jump in and help the students. We hate to see kids struggle. And this was one of the things that we struggled with, because we had to go back, step back, and have them struggle. And we had to tell them that it was okay to make a mistake. A lot of the students were afraid to make mistakes. And they're like, this doesn't make sense. That is part of science. Struggling and finding out how can we change this to make the data more applicable and to make it more, to make sense to them. So this was one of the things that they had to work on, and we had to work on. And we also had to teach them the stamina. They were used to a lab taking 1 to 2 days, and now it was taking 3 to 4 days because there was multiple pieces going on. And so throughout the year, you'll notice some of the comments they made was that their stamina increased. And this is one thing that we thought was awesome, because they realized that by doing this over and over, they, developed skills that they never had before. So we actually put out a survey, and the students actually gave us the areas they thought they grew in. So we're going to speak about what they thought. And one of the key components of what they thought increased this year was student engagement. We saw, instead of us as special ed teachers and regular ed teachers stepping in and helping and kind of directing their investigation, we saw the students helping the special ed students. So they became teams. So there'd be a kid who was struggling with reading. A regular ed student would sit next to him and say, let's read this together, let's annotate this together. And we saw them working as a team, and we got to step back and just watch the engagement and them sharing feedback and critical thinking with each other.
Yeah, this process really does make us facilitators in the classroom. It really is taking a step backward, which is not comfortable for us at times, but it is so cool when you let go of those reins and students pick them up.
I want to share with you some of the pictures, the modeling. So the first picture right there is they had prior knowledge of DNA, and they had prior knowledge of sexual reproduction, but no knowledge of mutations. They read about it, and then they had to model about this phenomena that occurs. It's called the sonic hedgehog phenomena, where this person gets an extra gene and it causes an extra face. So they had to model it. So this is one of their models. The second picture is of them not having any prior knowledge of photosynthesis, but by reading and using their literacy skills, they developed a picture based on what they read, and not us teaching any notes or directing to what the plant needs. They did it all by themselves.
This is another example. This is a recent project that we're doing in Science 7. So we are doing an egg drop challenge. So they need to engineer a prototype or a device allow an egg to safely fall from 3 stories. So here we had them model, they label their models, they include the courses that we have talked about in class. There's also some literacy that went into this, and then they must defend their choices. So tell me why you chose what you chose. What does that have to do? Why did you choose a bag? What does that reduce? So it really just gets them thinking, and there's a lengthy quote from one of our students, but this is their model that I chose, and they were excited that I was going to use it.
Some of the challenges that students thought that they need to work on still was one, going backwards. So we noticed that in the Science 8 exam that they had to come up with the essential questions. So they gave them the evidence, they gave them the reasoning, but then they had to figure out the essential question. And we didn't really go backwards. We were so focused on the forward that this is one thing that the students, again, next year, hopefully we will kind of build on. The other thing that they thought was a challenge was applying their evidence to real life situations. Now, we have done that through questioning, but it was more direct. This, they had to take their investigation and then use parts of it to apply it to other situations. And things like for a human to a plant, from a plant to a microorganism. So that was a big change for them.
So this ADI lends itself to collaboration, teamwork, all the things that science is really about and that we have fun with. So they loved working together as teams. A lot of this, I didn't do any individual ADI investigation. They were all working in a pair or more. So they really liked to be able to share those ideas and come up with methods as a group. So there wasn't that, I'm going to be wrong feeling. They could really take it on as a group.
They also thought that giving feedback to each other helped them build upon what they were doing wrong so they can make those changes for future investigations. So a lot of them struggled with giving feedback. Their first feedback was, good job, oh, I love this part. And as we gave sentence starters, we worked with the reading department to help them develop sentence starters. The kids actually gave very valuable feedback where they were allowed to change their ideas and then work off those ideas to better improve their experience. Another thing they also loved, it gave them more creativity. So there wasn't one thing that they had to work on, there was multiple things so they could split up the work. It also gave them ideas from each other because they got to share them, so that creativity just got fostered just through that group work itself.
So as you may know, the grant is actually a 3-year process. So where do we go from here? So the first year was about training our 7th and 8th grade. I did a kind of a backwards design model. We trained the 7th and 8th grade teachers in this inquiry model of instruction. Over the March Superintendent's Conference Day, Jess and Kristen did a training as facilitators to the 6th grade teachers and some tech ed teachers. Over the summer, we'll be working with elementary teachers. We have a core group of elementary teachers, including the elementary science teacher leaders, to teach them a little bit about argument-driven inquiry and the materials and resources that are available to them. In November, we'll start working as in core groups, so start developing common investigations, which will serve as part of our assessment model. And in March, we'll start doing, also in November, we'll be evaluating our New York State Science 8 assessment data to see what impacts we may have had over the course of the year. In March, we'll continue with that investigation, and hopefully in June of 2026, we'll be able to give you another program report that maybe is a little more brief. But thank you very much. And with that, any questions from the Board of Education or the educators that are here today?
Thank you so much. Great presentation. All right, we'll move on. Bear with me. It's been a minute since I've done a board meeting. The next items we have is the consent items. Included in that are the CPSC and CSE items, reports, the financials, the minutes from several meetings, personnel agenda, a textbook approval, claims and the claims auditor reports. I need a motion to approve consent items. Nina, second. Tara, all those in favor? Aye, passes 7-0. 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay,
6,
you're right.
7. Got it. 7-0. Next is our curriculum and instruction information. Rachel.
Good evening. I am pleased to let you know that for the 15th time, the Guilderland Music Department has the honor of being named one of NAMM Foundation's Best Communities for Music Education. Programs designated for this nationwide honor exemplify community commitment to include music education as part of a quality education for all children. The Guilderland Music Department is proud of its long history of musical excellence and believes that every child deserves a comprehensive music education. Congratulations to the wonderful music students and supportive community on this well-deserved recognition, and to the entire music staff whose hard work, dedication, and innovation are reflected in this achievement.
Next, on to superintendent information.
All right, thanks so much. My first item is a recap of the May 2025 vote. The 2025-26 budget was approved on May 20th with a 74.79 approval rate. Voters also approved our Future Ready capital project proposition with a 71% approval rate, and that will begin the multi-year process of transforming our facilities into future-ready learning environments. The purchase of 5 zero-emission full-size electric school buses with air conditioning, including level 2 chargers and setup, and a vehicle to replace the 2007 Chevy utility dump truck was also approved by 72.73% of voters who participated. We just want to thank our community for their overwhelming support of our budget and our capital project and our bus proposition. Very much appreciate it. We also want to offer congratulations to the candidates elected to the Board of Education. Peter Stapleton, who's joining us tonight, will serve a term that actually began on May 21st and will end on June 30th, 2026. This is the vacancy created by resignation of board member Judy Slack. Katie DePiro, Kelly Person, and Meredith Briere will fill 3-year terms beginning on July 1st, 2025. And I also want to thank 2 retirees who have come back to help us with our work, Neil Sanders and Linda Livingston, who has since retired. They did a tremendous amount of work to coordinate the vote itself, and we want to thank everyone who played a part in the long budget development process that begins pretty much in October. We did conduct an exit survey during the school budget vote, and we will be looking for those results in the near future. My next item, I'll just keep rolling here.
Please.
This is the Board of Education Award for 2025-2026. The Communications Committee has been working on the creation of a new Board of Education Award called the GHS Hero Awards. We came up with a nomination process, and we talked a little bit about it at our May 6th meeting through the Communications Committee. I don't know if there are additional comments or questions on this. I'm thinking this will end up on the July action, July agenda for action, since it's information here. Okay. I know there's committee members here. Is everyone okay? I want to, so if I move along, I just want to say a couple words about class sizes across the district, because this was a big topic during the budget development process, and we are continuing to get emails from individuals advocating for us to use unassigned FTEs in order to lower class sizes. And I asked our elementary principals today just to update classroom by classroom where we are across the district. And then if anyone has any questions. The budget included 3 unassigned FTEs for teachers. We have used one of those at Guilderland Elementary School in the first grade, because those class size sections were 26 and 27 students each, which is way above our 18 to 23 guideline for first grade. That leaves us 2 unassigned FTEs to take us through the end of next year. There are currently well, let me say what might be good news. We have very small kindergarten sections in 2 of our buildings and relatively small in a third. Altamont's has 3 sections of kindergarten with 15 students. Same is true at Linwood. At Altamont, we also have a 4th grade with 24.5 students. And Linwood has a 4th grade and a 5th grade, both who are at the upper end of their limits. And I'll just point out at Westmere, those class sizes at K are 16 and 17, but they have a 3rd grade in the high 23, 24 area. So about a week and a half ago after the budget passed, I brought together our leadership team to talk about what should we do, if anything, on this. And the question was, is there wisdom in collapsing some of our very small kindergarten classrooms in order to relieve some of the larger class sections at the upper grades? Doing so would create kindergarten classrooms of 21, 22, and then would reduce 4th grade classrooms to 16 and 17. And after this discussion, there was consensus among the group, and I think it was wise consensus, that we don't know our incoming kindergarten students. They have needs that we can't predict. Why would we make class sizes that are almost at the top of the level for our very youngest learners when we know our 4th and 5th graders and feel comfortable doing that? We do not have enough leftover unassigned to equitably approach or resolve every large class size across the district. We would need 4 more unassigned that we do not have. And the 2 that we do have, I am sure will have needs at the middle and high school that we need to address. So when we get requests, can we just use an unassigned? At this time, a lot of thought has gone into how do we best use our FTEs. So I wanted to be very clear about that and stand for any questions that folks might have.
How is the use of teaching assistants in these larger classrooms? How does that play out?
So we have an allocation of TAs for kindergarten and 1st grade. If we have circumstances where the numbers are very high and there may be students with lots of needs, the principals have the discretion to reach out and ask for some number of hours of TA support to be in that classroom. We do have a small pool of unassigned TA hours for that very reason. But sometimes a TA isn't necessarily what they need. So they're not shy about coming forward to telling us when they need something. But that can be a solution if there are lots of needs and not enough adult support. Great question. All right, and my last item, if I may, as you know, every school district in the state now will have an ex officio student board member. We reached out to our student population in the high school. We have 4 high school students who have written letters of interest. They will be in your Friday update, so you can take a look at those. The board should plan to appoint the student who will serve in this capacity at the July meeting. Their first meeting would be in September. So thank you, students who responded.
Very exciting. Okay, next is board president information. It's a couple of items. Start with notification of the end of year ceremonies, otherwise known as MUDs, moving up ceremonies. I won't go through them all, but it looks like elementary schools are mostly on June 25th and June 26th at either 8, I could go through it. Let's go. Altamont's at June 25th at 9 a.m. Guilderland's MUD ceremony, June 25th at 8:45. Linwood Elementary, June 26th at 8:30. Pine Bush, June 26th at 10 a.m. Westmere, June 26th at 8:15. Middle School is at June 26th at 7 p.m. at the high school. And the high school graduation is June 27th at 11 a.m. at the MVP Arena. You can find that information again in this. Go ahead.
I was just going
Yes?
to say, what we usually do is just make sure that the person who's the liaison is able to go, because sometimes, and just make sure somebody from the board is there at the moving update.
Oh, for the elementary?
Yeah, we usually
Yeah,
just go
yeah.
through and make sure that we're covered, because sometimes people
Okay.
are working or they can't make it and somebody else can fill in.
Well, if you're not sure of your schedules right now, you could probably work that through email if there's anything. So everybody check their schedules and see if they're unable, just send a note and we'll get it covered. This one of my favorite ceremonies is the elementary school moving up day when you get to shake, 50 or 60 dirty fifth-year-old hand, 5-year-old or fifth grader hands. It's fantastic because it's part of like this rite of passage of learning how to shake hands at elementary school. I think it's a fantastic ceremony. So I'll volunteer to go to the elementary schools if they can't go. The next is an update on the Fall 2025 NYSSBA Convention. The annual Convention and Education Expo of New York State School Boards Association will be held in New York City on October 23rd to 25th this year. Registration opens on August 12th, 2025. If any board members are interested in attending, please let our new board clerk, Kim Tenike, know as soon as possible. So we can coordinate that. As far as the next one is a Board of Education review. There's 2 Board of Education policies to review: school budget and bond referenda information, and school district operational goals up for info today. So take a moment to go through that. Okay, next is school business management action items. Andrew.
Thank you. I have 13 items for your consideration tonight. The first is a resolution and declaration of the tabulation of votes cast for the annual budget vote and election meeting. Marie detailed the results in her presentation.
Need a motion to approve. What was that? I'm like looking, I think. Pete and Rebecca. I have to look at the names. I can't look at your faces because I'll never remember. All those in favor? Aye. Passes 7-0.
Thank you. My next 2 items will be roll call votes. So after, when the committee is ready to vote, Kim Tenike will read everyone's names and record the roll. The first is the resolution for the purchase of school buses and trucks and related equipment. That's part of the transportation resolution that was approved by voters.
Motion to approve. Nina and Tara. Any comments or questions? Let me do the roll call.
Yes.
Katie DiPiero? Yes. Kelly Person?
Yes.
Kimberly Blasek, Nina Kaplan?
Yes.
Rebecca Butterfield? Yes. Tara Malloy Grocki?
Yes.
Peter Stapleton?
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Passes 7-0.
Passes 7-0. The next resolution is like that, but for the capital project. So it's the bond proposition related to the construction project that was approved by voters.
Need a motion to approve the next one. Tara, second Nina. Any comments or questions? Let's do the vote.
Gloria Tohill?
Yes.
Katie DiPiero? Yes. Kelly Person?
Yes.
Nina Kaplan?
Yes.
Rebecca Butterfield?
Yes.
Tara Malloy Grocki?
Yes.
Peter Stapleton?
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. Now we return to the regular voting. The next resolution is to allow the district to participate in the Regional Information Center One Risk Operations Center. This is for cybersecurity and would allow us to collaborate with the consortium.
Okay, motion to approve. Got it. Gloria and Katie. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Passes 7-0.
Thank you. My next item is a series of service agreements for services for our students with a variety of individual providers.
And motion to approve the service agreements. Nina, second Rebecca. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Passes 7-0.
Thank you. My next item is a continuation of our internal auditing agreement with Questar 3 BOCES. We are very happy with their service, and I recommend continuing it.
Need a motion for Questar. Rebecca, second Tara. Any comments or questions? Nope. All those in favor? Aye. Passes 7-0.
Thank you. My next item are 2 health and welfare services agreements with neighboring school districts to pay for the portion of nursing services they provide to private school students who are from our district.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the health and welfare services. Tara, second. Nina, any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye, passes 7-0.
Thank you. My next item is a solar pilot agreement with Reservoir Road facility.
Need a motion to approve. Tara, second. Katie, any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye, passes 7-0.
Thank you. My next item are general fund transfers in the amount of $156,872.
A motion for the transfer. Nina, and second Rebecca. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye, passes 7-0.
Thank you. My next item is an agreement with our external auditor, Weston Company CPAs.
A motion to approve the external auditor. Tara, second. Gloria, any comments or questions? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. My next item is an internship unpaid student teaching agreement with Russell Sage College for a student placement in our district.
A motion to approve the internship agreement. Nina, second. Tara, any comments or questions? All those in favor? It passes 7-0.
Thank you. My next item are universal pre-K contracts with providers for the 2025-26 school year, Christ the King and St. Madeleine Sophie.
All right. Motion to approve. Gloria, and second is Katie. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. My final item are donations, a sewing machine from Terry Shell, and science lab supplies from the New York State Education Office of Assessment.
All right, a motion to approve donations. Rebecca, second. Peter, any comments or questions? No? Did you comment or question? All those in favor? Aye, passes 7-0. Thank you for the donations. That's all for you. Thank you very much. Back to Dr. Wiles for superintendent action items.
Thank you. I have 2 items tonight. The first is a request for the formation of 2 new co-curricular clubs. The first is a high school club, the Guilderland Research Club with Christy Newells advising. The other is Debate and Law Club with Mr. John Kaufman.
So, need a motion to approve the 2 new clubs. Nina, second. Tara, any comments or questions? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
And my second item is a memorandum of agreement. It reads, be it resolved that the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent of schools to execute the proposed memorandum of agreement between the Guilderland Central School District and the Guilderland Office Workers Association.
Need a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement. Tara, second. Nina, any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye, passes 7-0. All right, thank you. On to board president action items. First item is the appointment of the interim superintendent of schools. It's hereby resolved that Regan D. Johnson is appointed as interim superintendent of schools for the period of July 1st to July 31st, 2025. Mr. Johnson will continue his duties as assistant superintendent for human resources, along with his pay and benefits for such title, during the same time period. For his duties as interim superintendent of schools, Mr. Johnson will be paid an additional sum of $600 per day for each day worked, including the paid holiday of July 4th. Mr. Johnson shall coordinate with the assistant superintendent for business on the appropriate documentation for days worked for payment of the per diem. We have a motion to approve. Mr. Regan, Katie, and Gloria, second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye, passes 7-0. Thank you very much, and congratulations. Next is our Diversity and Inclusion Committee appointments. Resolved that Board of Education appoint the following members to the DEI Committee for the purpose of providing direction, support, and oversight for the school district's work to make sure all students, families, and employees are heard, seen, safe, valued, respected, and welcomed in our school community. The folks we have appointed are Hunter Reed as a staff member, Yunlong Feng as a parent, Wee Quinn as a parent, William Pollard as our student, Lily Quinozi as a student, Anthony Cresswell as our community member, and James Tynan. Oh, did I miss I did the approve, okay. We need what do we need? A motion to approve. Thank you, I'm losing it. Peter and Tara is our second. Any comments or questions? No. Motion to approve, or all those in favor? Passes 7-0. I'm almost there. Board of Education policy adoption. Tonight, there's 5 policies that were up for info at various dates that are up for approval action today. I need a motion to approve the policy adoptions. Rebecca and Tara's second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? You abstaining?
I'd like to abstain, yeah, just because I'm new to the board and haven't had a chance to know all the background on everything, so I would abstain from that.
Okay, so it's that passes 6-0 with one abstention. Abstention?
Abstention.
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 Got it. I made it. Okay, so board committee reports is next. I'm going to start with audit committee. Rebecca.
So we met on May 27th. We approved the claims audit reports that were at the beginning of the meeting. And we also reviewed the annual risk assessment and special area audit, which for this year was on employee onboarding. More to come on that in probably the July or August meeting.
Thank you. Business practices?
We have not met.
Okay. Communications?
I do not have a report, but please let me know if you have any questions about the award before we vote next week.
Yeah, there was a draft. I read through the draft of the finalized thing. I think an update, right? I don't remember where I read it recently. I think I missed last meeting, so great. DEI committee. I'm not sure who's on that right now.
We have a meeting tomorrow, subcommittee meeting.
Okay.
The last meeting.
Last meeting, we spent quite a bit of time talking about the work of our student voice committees. And this wasn't at the meeting, but I'm going to be sharing it soon, and it's so awesome. Our middle school student voice committee made this tremendous video entitled "What is Diversity?" and it's 100% student created, written, edited.
It's great.
All of it. And it's being featured Thursday at a joint meeting of all the school districts in the Capital Region BOCES. Is kind of a exemplar of the work around diversity. So we're really proud. I will share the video with you. It was great. The other thing we did at DEI, and a number of you I should thank for, who brought to our attention the article in The Atlantic about Brown versus Board of Education and how it might be perceived differently as reflected in time. We had a very engaging conversation about it.
Thank you. And lastly, policy committee.
So we met on the 21st, and I actually wasn't there, but I'm sure that we talked about the things that we approved tonight.
The fruits of your labors were approved this evening. Got it.
Can I just jump in there to foreshadow some things? We had 4 policies. I think 2 of them have kind of gone back to committee. One was around searches and that kind of thing. We have already approved our distraction-free cell phone policy. And then we got an update from NYSBA that has some tweaks in it. So I think at your July board meeting, you're going to need to add a word here and there just to be in line with the new law.
Okay.
It never fails. We adopt and then we get an update. So I just want to put that on your radar. Thank you.
Okay, is there any public comments for public comment number 2? Okay, we'll move on to board issues, ideas, and sharing. I just want to start off by saying Happy Pride to our Guilderland community. I went to the Pride Festival in Albany this past weekend, and Bueno Blanca's been talking about it for years, that we're going to march some year as a Guilderland district in some capacity, and I think we're just going to do it, even if it's just Blanca and I with some T-shirts and flags. We'll do it next year. We'll get it going. I just want to acknowledge that there's a rainbow of chords back here, perfect rainbow of chords, and I don't know, they're always like, maybe I always like that, but you kind of just notice more during Pride, so it looks pretty cool. But anyway, so thanks for that extra special Pride thing. It could be like that every week, or every month, but I have no idea. Okay, that's all from me. Any other comments, board issues and sharing?
I had the chance to go to the Guilderland YMCA and watch the third graders from GES take water safety classes. Jean Berry from GES helped organize it. And it was so great to see all these kids in the pool, and they're learning about water safety, learning about swimming. And a couple of my friends who went last year who were terrified of water were in the pool, and they were laughing, and they were learning how to kick. It was just a great program. So I was really happy that Jean was able to organize that. And I went to my daughter's last music concert, which was phenomenal, as always. Just such a great music department, and I just, all three of my kids are musicians, so it's just been a great experience seeing them all grow. So, yeah, it's going to be a rough few weeks for me, but it's all good.
Yeah, I just like to piggyback on the music. Had the opportunity to attend the music department's chorale fest that they held. Excellent, very well done. Their guest conductor from Ithaca was very engaging and wonderful, and you could really see how the students grew through that process of the 3-day event. So that was wonderful to see.
Anybody else? Gloria, come on. I know you have something to say at your last meeting. We're really going to miss you. And
Wow, I am going to miss I'm going to look forward to having my Tuesday nights once in a while. But I am going to like I did when I left the classroom, I'm going to miss the people. I will miss you all. I know how dedicated you all are and how hard we work, and it's just been a real blessing to have let the classroom and come into this, a totally different kind of view, but really gained a whole lot of insights, and I thank each and every one of you for all that you've done for us.
We're grateful for you.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
thanks again for your years of service and all of the advice through the years. And
I'm not leaving town. I'll
well,
be around. So.
you and Judy can go drink coffee on the
That's right. We'll wave
up in Altamont, wave the school buses.
Tell me when you're marching the Pride Parade.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're definitely. We just got to get our act together and just figure it out when to sign up, and I think it'll be great. It'll be fun. And thanks again to Marie Wiles. Any last words? This is your last board meeting. We're going to miss you dearly.
No special meetings between now and June 30th?
Not yet. I'm sure we can come up with something.
No, I just want to thank all of you. It's been a very good run. It has not always been easy. We've been through a lot together as a school district. Since my first superintendency in 2001, which was my first superintendency, I've said, I think I said to Mike Laster yesterday, I've had 9/11, the big recession, and a pandemic on my watch. And I feel like, okay, those are my 3 strikes. It's time to go to the dugout. But there's just nothing better than working on behalf of children and doing it with people who care. And so I have relished every single day, the good, the bad, and the sometimes ugly, because we've been here for kids. And, we're always a work in progress and will continue to be, but it's been my honor to serve all of you.
Thank you so much, Gloria. There's no executive session, right?
You got to go back for.
So we need a.
Quick.
Okay, so we need a motion to end our open meeting and go to executive session. Adjourn the meeting and then move into executive session. Oh, adjourn a meeting. Gloria, and second is Rebecca. All those in favor? Aye, passes 7-0. And then we need a motion to go to executive session. Katie and Nina. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Great job, Kelly.